The face that I live with. Every day I wake up and I see this face again. Has anyone ever wished there were times you could look different? Among all the things in life we can change, our face is one of the few things we're simply born with, and no matter how much effort we put into it, we can rarely transform it in a way that feels truly satisfying. That's why so often life can feel unfair, because like it or not, our appearance plays a huge role in shaping how the world treats us. Our chances at love, the respect we receive, even the opportunities we get in work or society. And while we're told not to judge a book by its cover, in reality, it often feels like the cover writes the story for us before we even speak. Everyone goes through this experience, especially during their teenage years or 20s, living in a time when appearance plays such a powerful role in shaping individual lives. Almost everyone, even celebrities who seem flawless, carries some kind of insecurity about how they look. We're all caught in this silent game of unfairness, comparing ourselves to impossible standards and secretly wishing we had someone else's face. And sometimes we wonder, what did I do in a past life to deserve this? In a society that constantly exaggerates and glorifies beauty, these feelings only grow stronger over time, making it even harder to accept ourselves as we are. But I didn't think in this way. When I was a teenager, I believed that what truly mattered in life were things like academics, health, personality. Back when I was in school, I was just an ordinary guy. I wasn't handsome, neither was I a smart kid. I didn't stand out in school, but I had one strong belief: if I worked harder than most people and achieved things others couldn't, my life would eventually change. So I poured my energy into self-development. I tried to build unique hobbies, studied hard to get into a good university, and even published a book, something few people ever do. But despite all of that, nothing really changed. I wasn't suddenly surrounded by friends. I didn't find any romantic interest. That was the moment I started to wonder, is it because of how I look? That was the point when I started working out, because one day I saw myself in the mirror and couldn't stand the sight of being overweight anymore. I had no experience with exercise, no idea what I was doing, but I did it anyway. A month passed and then another, and without thinking too much, I kept going for 6 months. I ended up losing 14 kilograms. My body definitely changed, but did it change my life? No. That's when the pressure around appearance became even more intense. It felt devastating and frustrating to realize that no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't escape something I was simply born with. It made me start to represent the unfairness of life, how deeply beauty seems to affect everything, even when we try so hard in other areas. And that's when I came across a book called The Psychology of Ugliness, written by Lee Chang-ju, a mental health expert in Korea. After reading this book, I realized something painful but true. There's nothing we can fundamentally change. All we can really do is to believe in those two vague, overused words: love yourself. But how can we love ourselves when we were born with things we don't love about who we are? It seems like a contradiction, and yet, if we think deeply, is there really any other way? If I don't love myself, who else will? That's the cruel reality we all have to live with, and honestly, it's terrifying and stressful. Maybe that's why Buddha said pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. We can't control the pain of being born into an unfair world, but we can choose whether or not to suffer endlessly because of it. And the book goes on to say that at first, dealing with this kind of pain is incredibly difficult. But if we choose not to suffer, if we make that conscious decision, our brain slowly begins to change little by little. The author shares how some of his patients, after a few months of consistent effort, began to genuinely feel better. When we start appreciating who we are, even just a little, our brain synapses begin to rewire themselves. And eventually, those small changes add up. It's a matter of patience and choice because in the end, we hold the key to our own happiness. So today, I'm telling myself this. I'm still learning to accept my own face.